Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Here we are at the pool with the UCAN Robot BW Space Pro. You may have seen the unboxing. If you didn't see that, go ahead and check the link I'll have pop up here right on the right hand corner there, so you can see how this thing kind of came out of the package, or on kind of how the app looks up close and how to hook everything up. Anyway, for this test we're going to drop this thing in the pool. I have a 12-foot pool here. It's only about 3 feet deep. This will be a good first test before we take it in the ocean, just to see kind of how it's going to perform in calm water. Of course, as you may know, these things do perform way different when there's current, but I do like to just test them really quick in some calm water just to get used to the controls and to show you guys how it's performing in this type of scenario. Anyway, let's go ahead and connect it all up, throw it in the water, and see how this thing performs. Little hook here. This is actually from the Mito drone. I don't know if you heard of them, the Navitex Mito. I'm also reviewing that, so I kind of commandeered this just for temporary. And then you just put a couple of zip ties here so that it's a little more secure when you're pulling it. So anyway, what we need to do is just connect the cable to the sub first. And this in itself right now, just letting you guys know, just being honest, is it's a little bit weird because I had to tighten this quite a bit here, because it seems like when you put this on the actual tether, it seems like this wants to unscrew kind of from the body sometimes. It just doesn't seem like it's super, professionally done here. So maybe something they want to work on is make sure all their connections really are durable and they meet up correctly. And speaking of that, this cap too, that's supposed to cover the connector, this doesn't even work at all. So I don't even know why this is on here. It just doesn't even match up with the size of the connector. So anyway, that's how this is supposed to work. You see how that gives us a little more of an anchor point and durability when we are trying to pull this out of the water. Then all we do is we connect this guy here, the other end of the tether, right into the Wi-Fi hotspot. There we go. Go into Wi-Fi and then find the UCAN right here. And I want to make sure it's connecting to that. Go back into the app. Connect Wi-Fi. There we go. Starting. So everything's starting now. The lights start to blink. We kind of went over this in the unboxing. What I need to do though is I need to power on the controller. So short press, press and hold. See that come up, and then we have some beeping, and all we need to do is slide to unlock the device, and there we go. There it is. So we have a pretty smooth view here. Everything looks good on the iPad. We need to go into settings here, and unfortunately you have to do this every time, and we want to go, this is the controller A and that's the controller B, so we want to click on controller A. As long as this is on, it's saying handle connected. Okay, so that's good to go. Go ahead and click out of that. So we should be ready to go. All we need to do is put this thing in the water. So this is going to be the first time ever I've had it in the water, guys, so bear with me. Just want to make sure I give it enough slack. Again, this is something they should work on, is make a better reel, tether reel here. A lot of these subs now have a better tether reel. So I guess what we'll do, since we're floating right here, is we'll just do a depth calibration and start. I'm seeing light flashing, and that was it. So that we can get a real depth reading, an accurate depth reading. Gosh, what was the light? So I'm just going to use this to turn on the lights. So I'm going to slide it up. Wow, that's pretty white, isn't it? So I guess it's using, maybe it's going into night vision mode. There we go. So we got some blue on the iPad now. So I have the lights at 100%, and I'm just using my left stick. I'm turning it to the right and left. And that's not bad, actually. It seems like it's performing pretty well. I'm going to pull down on the left stick. Nice. Let me walk over here, pull out a little more tether so we can go across the pool. Walk over here. And you see how it floated up. So apparently we're not in depth hold, so let's go ahead and go down. C on this controller is depth lock. So let's see how good it is at holding its depth below the surface. There we go. So it's keeping itself down there. You see how it's doing that on its own? It's pushing itself down. So now I'm going to turn with my left stick, I'm turning, and then I'm going to move forward. And this is exactly what I thought it would do. It's going to be a little bit, there's going to be a little bit of curving, like the pitch is going to be moving around a little bit because there's no side vertical motors, right? And this is a little bit weird. In order for it to kind of keep its depth, it's kicking on those motors, and let's just see what it does. It seemed like it was kind of moving its head back and forth a little bit, but we'll see how it does. In the meantime, I'm looking at the video on my iPad, and I'm just making sure I can kind of see how it's all doing. Video looks actually pretty good. It's nice and smooth. It's not choppy at all. The yaw rate seems a little slow, very, very slow. And I think they do that in these ones. That was actually full blast forward. They kind of do that slow yaw rate in these ones because when this one turns, since it has no vertical stabilization on the sides, it's going to do this weird pitch right and left if it turns too fast. So the way they mitigate it with these ones is they make it yaw just like very, very slow. So let me come a little bit more close, and then you guys can see just how slow it's going. Something else I'm noticing is you can't go forward while you're yawing. That's unfortunate. Limitation there. Watch what happens. I'll go forward slowly, and then I'll yaw to the left. It totally locked out all of my forward motion. I'm pushing the controller and I cannot go forward anymore. So that's a big negative there. You know, you want to be able to track objects and move forward as you're turning, but you can't do that with this one. That kind of, I don't want to say sucks, but that's too bad. Let's go reverse. All right, not bad. Forward again. But yeah, as soon as you put in a little bit of turning, yaw, it just wants to stop until you make that turn. That's the maximum turning there. And then when you let off your yaw, it continues on. Oh, we're in fast speed right now. Okay. All right, so I was already all the way in fast. Let's try slow. So this is slow, full throttle back. Slow, full throttle forward. And I was just pressing that top toggle on the very top of the controller. Yeah, it even cuts out the forward motion when we are in slow, and then it kicks back on. Whoa, it's just started turning on its own there. A little bit weird. So we'll go back into fast. Well, let's go in the middle speed. Let's see what the middle speed is real quick. You see, just a little bit faster, but it's still cutting out the yaw. All right, so we'll go back into fast mode, and we're still in 100% brightness on the lights. We do want to try to do the pitch. So this thing, the main thing about this one, guys, is it's supposed to have the pitch control. So we're looking at the sub right now. When I do this pitch control, the sub should tilt down and tilt up. I'm pushing a few buttons and it doesn't seem to be doing that pitch control. This circle in the middle of the iPad screen, I'm gonna kind of push it up. Okay, that's working good. Let's do a 45. It's kind of trying to maintain its depth and a 45, but you can see it's a little bit wonky because it has to maintain, I guess, some forward motion. Pitch down this time, so I'm using this little circle icon. Let me turn it so you guys might be able to see it. So it is working though. It's pitching down. Let's go down. Now I'm like 20 degrees about. Let's see if we can go forward at 20 degrees. Okay, so that does work, but see what's happening is it's kind of like tilting left to right because it has no vertical stabilizers on the sides, right? It seems like it's doing a decent enough job. Not as good as some of the other ones. Like remember the V6 and the Gladius Mini they kind of have the market cornered in their movement abilities. degrees of freedom. This one is going down to the bottom when I do this. So what I might want to do is put it in slow speed. Let's try this again in slow. Yeah, it does a little bit of weird of a head shake once in a while. See that? The head kind of, it's doing that all by itself. I did not do that, guys. So, maybe some updates they can work on. That was a little bit weird. Let's see if the compass is correct. I'm facing north now with my controller. Let me turn its head north. Yeah, the compass is correct. North is that way it's facing right now, so that's good. So we were pitched down a ways. Let's go all the way to 45 degrees. There we go. So that's the maximum it can pitch. And you can see how it just starts to have a little bit of trouble because it's trying to use the two top motors to do that. And it's doing that all by itself. It just did that all by itself. I don't know what it's doing right now. No idea. It's getting a little bit discombobulated on its own. So that is definitely a negative. You don't want that to be happening when you're trying to inspect something on the ground, right? On the ocean floor. Let's see if it happens at 20%. So I definitely wouldn't use 45% right now because 20% seems okay. I'm looking at my iPad screen. Let's see how well I can control it in slow mode. And look at the ocean floor. Yeah, so that's not bad. I'm just using FPV to kind of go forward slowly. Remember, this is only 3 feet of depth, this pool, so it's kind of not fair to it to really keep its depth. But it does have the occasional weird glitching where it just wants to spin on its own and stuff. So, and then if you do full throttle forward, it will push down a ways, but I'm not sure. If it had more room, it might you know, limit that. There it goes again. I was just yawing to the right and it just did this weird thing, and now it's just going on its own doing some weird uncontrollable yaw techniques. Anyway, and that's how it's honestly performing. Let's try to go up 20% while we're at this same depth lock. It seems like it's depth locking good though. It's at about the same depth as I did it originally. Remember, I was about halfway to the surface. So that's doing decent enough. So you could do some inspections on boats with this, facing it up like this, about 20% or so. Not bad. It's working okay. Okay, and remember I am in slow mode. Let's see if we go all the way up to 45 again, if it has the same glitching problem. So it looks like you're going to have to touch the screen with this controller, I guess, unless I just don't know how to operate that pitch lock. Wow, it's doing really good right now. Look at that. The sub is actually staying pretty stationary. Oh, now it's starting to glitch out on its own a little bit. That's all by itself right there. I didn't even touch the sticks. So something they need to work on. Something with the algorithm. It's doing all this on its own. I'm not touching the sticks at all. So that could kind of ruin your day, I guess, if you're trying to inspect. Let's do a slow forward movement. Yeah, it's kind of bucking bronco even in this calm water, guys. Whoa, there's those bright lights, 100% lighting power. So I would really stay away from using that 45 degree. Let's see, even maybe 30 degree. Let's try 30 degree, see how this is. Go forward a little bit. Okay, so 30 degree it seems to do okay. Whoop. This is all on its own right now. That's all on its own. What is it doing? Okay, that's enough of that. We kind of know what to expect by now. The question is, how do we get back to zero? I guess just by finding exactly the right spot. Our batteries are doing really good though. We still have full power on the repeater on the machine, which is the sub. The water temperature is 81.5 degrees. Wi-Fi connection is very strong. There's this little like D-pad slider button here. That would be great if that would adjust the pitch of this whole thing, because you would think with this Pro controller you'd be able to adjust that pitch lock, but you can't. And keep in mind guys, this version right here, this is not the image tracking version. So apparently this is like the base model of the Pro. And what kind of distinguishes the Pro from the BW Space 1 is this one just has 2 vertical motors instead of 1, and it's a little bit of a different shape, better camera, better lighting. I never reviewed the first one, but you know, just honestly speaking, it would have not been as good as this one, and this one is still having some glitches, so it looks like they still need to improve this one, just, you know, honest to gosh speaking here. I've noticed though that the video has been rock solid the whole way through, from the Wi-Fi, that repeater, to my iPad, rock solid video. The latency is very, very good. I'm not seeing any pixelation, any glitches whatsoever. So that's good. There's full speed forward. And that yaw speed is just really slow. I wonder if we can speed that up. Let's go take a look here. Steering sensitivity. Let's go to 5 and see if that makes a difference. Okay. So I just put the steering sensitivity to 5. Yeah, now it's going faster in the steering. See that? Okay. Now it's a little more wonky. The head seems to be shaking a little bit more. And I'm still depth locked at that same depth. Anyway, that's how it's performing. Let's just zoom around without depth locking it and just kind of see how it controls. Okay, wait a minute. Now I can turn while I'm going forward if I'm not in depth lock. Okay, that's interesting, guys. Now I can turn and go forward. See that? Let's reverse. Up, down. Let's go down to the bottom and let it kind of float up. So it's not in depth lock. See how it's floating up on its own. That's a good feature. It just slowly floats up. Let's go all the way down. Depth lock it. Right there. Let's see if we can kind of go up and down in depth lock. I'm going to try to go up. Ooh, okay, it's not letting me go up. So you're going to need to like take off depth lock until you get where you want and then depth lock it. See that? I just let it float up a little bit. When you're in depth lock, you cannot turn and go forward or back at the same time. Okay, guys? Keep that in mind. It will just cut out your forward or your backwards and it will just start turning. So something good to know. If you do want to have that full control, take off depth lock, and then you can do forward and turning at the same time. See this? So good to know. I'm just full stick forward and turned fully. It's doing pretty good actually. Let's go full forward and go up and down. Whoa. Yeah, so you can kind of zoom around and change your depths in this mode. Just remember, you will not have the depth lock, so it will slowly float up. Even worse in the ocean, right? Because the ocean is going to be more buoyant. This is fresh water right now. Okay guys, and what I'm noticing too is something to be really aware of here is depending on which mode you're in, there's slow, middle, and high modes you can choose from. But the control does not seem to be proportional, at least the forward. So you're trying to slowly push it forward in fast speed. That's it. That's the slowest I can go. And that's the only speed I can go. In medium speed, middle, trying to slowly push it forward right now. Slowly until it starts going. Pushing it full throttle. And it seems to be the only, one speed in each mode. So keep that in mind. If you're looking for some really fine finesse movements, you're going to have to go in like slow speed because that's basically slow speed, and then here's full throttle and slow, and it's the same speed. Let's see about the turning actually. So if we're yawing it, trying to yaw slowly, trying to yaw fast, same speed. So not really a proportional on the sticks, so just keep that in mind too. One more thing I forgot to mention, I can actually move this iPad a little higher, so it's not like getting in the controls so much. Just unscrew this little thumb screw a little bit, push this iPad a little higher, re-tighten it. There we go. Whoa. Gets a little bit heavy on it though. At least it's more high away from the controls though, so that's kind of cool. Okay, so good to know. Learned something tonight. Anyway, guys, that's how it's controlling. Let me bring it in here. We'll let it kind of float up here. We'll turn it off, bring it in, and we'll do a final little pros and cons on this first test, and we'll just briefly talk about everything. Okay, lock in the motors. Everything turns off. And with these tethers, you don't want to kink them, right? But you can pull it up by this lock or this anchor point. Just make sure you have it kind of zip tied like I have it. And that's, you know, that was a little bit unprofessional to me. They didn't even include this little hook in the package or any zip ties. I had to kind of fend for myself on that. But anyway, quick little pros and cons. No actual reel. This is just a spool, I guess you could call it, a wind-up tether spool for it. Remember that in depth lock, you cannot turn and go forward or backwards at the same time. You have to be in non-depth lock. Pitching, it does work. Keep it under 45 degrees for now. When you try to do that, it has this weird yaw thing and it kind of gets out of control sometimes. Again, with these kinds of submarines, guys, if they don't have any dual vertical side motors, they're going to do this, and that's what this one suffers from. It did move around quite good though, like especially in non-depth lock mode. The lights were very, very bright, so that's had something good going for it. The camera seemed pretty good. We're not really taking any photos or videos in the pool here, but we're going to do that in the ocean test. The FPV video to the iPad was rock solid. We barely used any power. The repeater is still fully charged. The drone machine, the sub itself, actually just has one little notch from 5 notches, so we might have used, I want to say maybe about 15-20%. The compass does work well, so look at your compass, which direction you're facing on your iPad. Remember which direction you're going out with the compass, where the actual sub graphic is going, and then you could actually come back in the direction where you're going from. It doesn't have any GPS or any logging the position, so you're not going to know exactly where you are in the water when you're coming back, but at least you know you're coming back in the same general direction. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that review, and I will see you in the ocean dive test. Don't forget the links down in the description to all the stuff I review and the equipment I'm using here. Great light here, and some of the other stuff will be down there as well, so check that out, and I'll see you guys in the ocean test. Thanks for watching.